What if your best friend, the person you trusted most, betrayed you in the final 60 seconds before the most important exam of your life? We had been inseparable since freshman year. I helped him pass every class. I covered for him. I even shared my notes and study plans. Then, in the last minute before the final exam that decided our scholarships, he handed in only his own ID. When I asked for mine, he looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't have one. Take the fail and give your scholarship slot to my girlfriend." This is the full story of the ultimate betrayal, and how I made sure he regretted it for the rest of his life. If you've ever been stabbed in the back by someone you called a brother, this one will hit hard. Stay till the end. My name is Alex Chen, and I was supposed to be the first person in my family to attend a top-tier university and graduate with a full-ride scholarship. Instead, I almost became another cautionary tale about blind trust. I almost became the warning that immigrant parents tell their children at dinner tables across America. I almost became the example of what happens when you let someone too close, when you open your heart to the wrong person, when you confuse convenience with loyalty. But I didn't. Because somewhere in the depths of my despair, I found something I never knew I had. I found a resilience that would carry me through the darkest moments of my life. I found a fire that would not be extinguished by betrayal. And I found a truth that would ultimately set me free and bring justice to those who had wronged me. This is my story. It begins with hope, descends into the depths of human cruelty, and rises again on the wings of determination. It is a story about the American dream, the immigrant experience, and the devastating realization that sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who will hurt us the deepest. I remember the first day of freshman orientation at Ridgewood State University like it was yesterday. The summer heat was oppressive, clinging to my skin like a second layer of clothing. I had taken the bus from my parents' tiny apartment above the noodle shop, carrying everything I owned in 2 worn suitcases and a cardboard box that had once held oranges. My mother had packed me enough food to last a month, even though the dorms had a meal plan. She had also packed her worry, her prayers, and the weight of an entire generation's hopes. My father had given me a firm handshake and a look that said more than words ever could. He was not a man of many words, my father. He had left his homeland with nothing but the clothes on his back and a dream of a better life. Now his son was going to college. The first one. The one who would make everything worthwhile. The bus ride had taken 3 hours, and I had spent the entire time staring out the window, watching the city transform from the familiar chaos of Chinatown to the manicured lawns and tree-lined streets of the university campus. It felt like I was entering another world, a world that had never been meant for people like me. But I was determined to make it mine. When I arrived at the dormitory, I was overwhelmed by the sheer size of it. The building towered above me, a monument to higher education that seemed to mock my humble origins. The hallways were clean and air-conditioned, a luxury I was not accustomed to. My room was on the 3rd floor, and I climbed the stairs slowly, savoring every moment of this new beginning. And then I met him. Jordan Reeves was already there when I opened the door. He was lounging on one of the twin beds, scrolling through his phone with the casual confidence of someone who had never had to fight for anything in his life. He was tall, blonde, and effortlessly handsome. His clothes were designer, his watch was expensive, and his smile was disarming. "Yo," he said, jumping up and extending his hand. "You must be my roommate." "I'm Jordan. Jordan Reeves. Welcome to the palace." I shook his hand, feeling small and inadequate in comparison. Alex Chen. Nice to meet you." Palace might be a stretch, he said, looking around the cramped room with a laugh. But hey, it's home for the next 9 months, right? Right, I said quietly. It's nice. Jordan noticed my family photos almost immediately. I had placed them on the desk, the only personal touch in a room that felt cold and impersonal. My parents stood outside the noodle shop, their faces weathered but proud. My mother was smiling, but you could see the exhaustion in her eyes. My father stood stiffly, his hand on my shoulder. "That your folks?" Jordan asked. "Cute. What do they do?" I hesitated, unsure how to answer. In my experience, people either pitied or dismissed the children of immigrants. I had learned to downplay my background, to make myself smaller so others would feel more comfortable. "They run a small restaurant," I said carefully. "Noodles. It's nothing fancy." Jordan shrugged. "Hey, nothing wrong with that. My dad's in real estate. Big buildings. Boring stuff." He said it like he was downplaying something enormous, and I nodded, still unsure how to read this charismatic stranger. He had an easy way about him, a confidence that drew you in and made you want to be his friend. It was the kind of confidence that only came from privilege, from never having to worry about money or safety or the future. "So, Alex Chen," Jordan said, leaning forward conspiratorially. "What's your deal? You party? Study? Both?" I shifted uncomfortably. I'm here on scholarship. So mostly studying, I guess." I expected him to lose interest. In my experience, scholarship kids were not particularly interesting to people like Jordan. We were too serious, too focused, too burdened by expectations. But he surprised me. Jordan nodded slowly, his eyes appraising. "Scholarship, huh? Smart. I like smart people. You're gonna be my study buddy." I blinked, genuinely surprised. "Really?" Really, he said, grinning. "I'm gonna need all the help I can get. I barely passed high school. But you look like you've got your stuff together." It was the first time anyone had ever looked at me and seen something desirable. In high school, I had been the quiet kid, the one who sat in the back and never raised his hand. I had been invisible to the popular crowd, a ghost in my own life. But Jordan saw me. He saw value in me. I smiled, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Acceptance. "Okay. Yeah. I can help." Jordan clapped his hands together, his enthusiasm infectious. "Excellent. This is gonna be a great year, my friend. I can feel it." He looked at me with what seemed like genuine warmth, and I allowed myself to believe it. I allowed myself to believe that I had finally found a friend, someone who would have my back, someone who saw me as an equal. I was wrong. So devastatingly wrong. The first semester was a whirlwind. I had never worked so hard in my life. The coursework at Ridgewood State was demanding, far more challenging than anything I had encountered in high school. I spent my nights in the library, my days in the classroom, and every spare moment studying. The scholarship was contingent on maintaining a 3.7 GPA, and failure was not an option. Jordan, meanwhile, was struggling. He had coasted through high school on charm and connections, but college was different. The professors didn't care about his father's money or his family name. They cared about results, and Jordan wasn't producing them. I found him playing video games one night instead of studying for a calculus exam, and something in me snapped. I had been helping him with his homework, rewriting his essays, explaining concepts that should have been simple. But he wasn't trying. He was coasting, expecting me to carry him. "Jordan," I said, my voice sharper than I intended. "What are you doing?" "The exam is tomorrow." He looked up, his expression sheepish. I know. I just needed a break. This stuff is killing me." "Killing you?" I repeated. "Do you know what would happen if I failed this exam?" "I would lose my scholarship. I would be out of here. My parents would have to tell everyone that their son failed." Jordan's expression softened. "Whoa, man. Take it easy. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just not as smart as you, okay?" I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. "You are smart, Jordan. You're just not applying yourself. Let me help you." And so I did. I spent the next 3 hours explaining derivatives, walking him through practice problems, showing him the patterns that made calculus make sense. By the end of the night, he understood. He passed the exam. He thanked me profusely. "You're like the brother I never had," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I mean it. I don't know what I would do without you." It was the kind of thing you say in the heat of the moment, but I believed it. I wanted to believe it. I needed to believe it. The pattern continued for the next 4 years. Jordan would fall behind, and I would catch him up. He would make excuses, and I would find solutions. He would party, and I would cover for him. In my mind, that's what best friends did. We carried each other. We lifted each other up. I helped him pass every tough class. I stayed up rewriting his essays. I covered for him when he partied too hard and missed deadlines. I even shared my notes and study plans, giving him the same resources I had spent countless hours developing for myself. He never paid me back. He never even offered. But I didn't mind. In my mind, we were a team. We were brothers. And brothers didn't keep score. The scholarship we were both fighting for was the Presidential Merit Scholarship. It was the most prestigious award at Ridgewood State, offering full tuition, housing, books, and a $5,000 stipend per year. Only 20 students across the entire university received it each year, and it was renewable based on maintaining a 3.7 GPA. I had a 3.95. Jordan had a 3.1, thanks almost entirely to my help. But I didn't resent him for it. I was happy for him. I wanted us both to succeed. That's what I told myself. Looking back now, I can see the cracks in our relationship that I had chosen to ignore. I can see the signs of his selfishness, his entitlement, his willingness to take without giving. But at the time, I was blind. I was desperate for connection, for validation, for the kind of friendship that I had never had before. I was also afraid. Afraid that if I stopped helping him, he would stop being my friend. Afraid that I would lose the only person who seemed to see me as more than just the quiet scholarship kid. So I kept helping him. I kept giving him pieces of myself, pieces of my time, pieces of my future. And he kept taking. The truth is, I never really mattered to him. I was a tool, a resource, a means to an end. He used me because I was useful, and when I stopped being useful, he discarded me. It was that simple. But I didn't know that then. I thought I had found a brother. I thought I had found someone who would be there for me, the way I was there for him. I was wrong. Everything changed in our senior year. Jordan had been dating casually since freshman year, but nothing serious. Then he met Sophia Reyes, and everything went sideways. Sophia transferred to Ridgewood State mid-year. She was beautiful in a sharp, calculating way, with designer clothes, perfectly styled hair, and the kind of ambition that bordered on ruthlessness. She had money, or at least she had once. Her family had cut her off financially after she switched majors twice, and she needed the Presidential Merit Scholarship to stay in school and maintain her lifestyle. She was also the kind of woman who used people as stepping stones. She had done it before, and she would do it again. I saw it in her eyes from the first moment we met, but I didn't want to believe it. I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to believe that Jordan had finally found someone who made him happy. I was wrong about that too. I met her at the campus coffee shop. Jordan had called me over, his face beaming with pride. "Alex, come meet my girlfriend." Sophia extended her hand. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Nice to meet you, Alex. Jordan talks about you all the time. You're the genius who's been helping him." "I do what I can," I said, shaking her hand. Her grip was firm, almost aggressive. "Must be nice," she said, her tone sharp. "Being so smart. I wish I had that kind of natural talent." "It's not natural," I said, uncomfortable. "I work hard." "So do I," she said, her eyes gleaming. "But sometimes hard work isn't enough, right? Sometimes you need advantages." The word hung in the air, heavy with implication. I didn't know what she meant, but I sensed something dangerous in her. Something calculating and cold. Jordan, oblivious as always, put his arm around her. "Sophia's family cut her off after she changed majors. She's fighting for the same scholarship as us now." "Oh," I said, surprised. "The Presidential Merit?" Sophia nodded. "The one and only. I needed to stay in school. My parents are very traditional. If I don't graduate on time, I'm cut off permanently." "That's intense," I said, genuinely sympathetic. "It is," she said, leaning in. "But I'm not going to let a little thing like money stop me. I always find a way." She said it with a smile, but I heard the undertone of threat. She would do whatever it took to get what she wanted. I didn't realize then that she would target me. The final exam that decided everything was advanced financial accounting. It was a brutal course, known across campus as the scholarship killer. Professor Langford was infamous for his strict rules, his demanding standards, and his absolute refusal to make exceptions. One mistake, one missing document, and you were done. I had prepared for months. I had read the textbook cover to cover, completed every practice problem, attended every office hour. I had even formed a study group with other students, helping them understand the concepts that seemed so difficult. But despite my preparation, I was terrified. The pressure was immense. My parents had already told all their relatives that their son was going to be a success story. They had sacrificed everything for me, and I couldn't let them down. The weight of their dreams was on my shoulders, and it felt like the entire world was watching. Jordan, on the other hand, was distracted. He had been all semester. He spent more time with Sophia than he did in the library. His grades were slipping, and he didn't seem to care. "Dude," I said one night, frustrated. "You need to focus. This exam is worth 40% of your grade. If you fail, you lose the scholarship." He waved me off dismissively. "I've got it covered. Don't worry about me." "Covered how?" I pressed. "I haven't seen you study in weeks." I have a plan, he said mysteriously. Just trust me. I didn't trust him. Something about the way he said it made my skin crawl. But I pushed the feeling aside. He was my best friend. He wouldn't do anything to hurt me. The night before the exam, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, going over the material in my head. I had done everything right. I had prepared. I was ready. But something was wrong. I felt it in my gut, a gnawing sense of unease that I couldn't shake. I told myself it was just anxiety. It was the biggest test of my life. Of course, I was nervous. My phone buzzed. It was my mother. "Alex," she said, her voice thick with accent. "I just want to say, good luck tomorrow. We are so proud. Everyone in the family is talking about you." "Thanks, Ma," I said, emotional. "I'm gonna do my best." "Your father, he doesn't say much," she continued, "but he prays for you every night. You make us so proud." I felt tears prick at my eyes. "I won't let you down. I promise." "We love you, son," she said. "I love you too, Ma. Tell Dad I love him too." I hung up and took a deep breath. I could do this. I had to do this. I woke up early, feeling a strange sense of calm. I showered, dressed in my best suit, and ate a light breakfast. I reviewed my notes one last time and packed my bag carefully. I placed my ID in the special compartment, zipped it up, and checked it 3 times. Everything was in order. Everything was ready. I met Jordan at the exam hall. He looked calm, too calm. There was a strange glint in his eyes that I had never seen before. I dismissed it as nerves. "Ready for this, bro?" I asked. "Born ready," he said, his voice too casual. "You?" "I'll manage," I said. "I've got a secret weapon." "Your charm?" I joked. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Something like that." The hall was massive, filled with hundreds of students. The tension was palpable, a living thing that breathed and pulsed in the air. Professor Langford stood at the front, a stern figure of authority. "Good morning," he announced, his voice booming. "Today is the final exam for Advanced Financial Accounting. This exam is worth 40% of your final grade. It is also the determining factor for the Presidential Merit Scholarship allocation." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I felt my heart race. "Place your student IDs clearly visible on the top right corner of your desk," he continued. "No ID, no exam. No exceptions." I reached into my wallet and froze. My ID wasn't there. I frantically checked my bag. My jacket pockets. My pants. Nothing. Panic swept over me like a wave. "Jordan," I whispered urgently. "Have you seen my ID?" "I swear I put it in my wallet this morning." He didn't even look at me. "Nope." "Jordan, please," I begged. "This is serious." "Where's my ID?" He finally turned to look at me. His expression was unreadable. "Alex, calm down. You probably left it in your room." "I didn't," I insisted. "I checked. It's not there." Professor Langford was getting closer, walking down the aisle, checking IDs. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. "Mr. Chen," he said, reaching my row. "Where's your ID?" "I don't know, sir," I stammered. "I had it this morning." "I must have." You have 60 seconds to produce it, he said coldly, or you will be asked to leave. The clock was ticking. I was running out of time. Then Jordan stood up. He walked to the front, a calm determination on his face. "Excuse me, Dr. Langford," he said smoothly. "I'd like to place my ID now." I watched in horror as he handed it to the invigilator. As he passed me, he leaned down and whispered in my ear. "You don't have one, Alex. Take the fail. Give your scholarship slot to Sophia. She needs it more than you." The words hit me like a physical blow. For a moment, I couldn't think. Couldn't breathe. This was a joke, wasn't it? A sick, twisted joke? "Jordan," I said, my voice trembling. "What are you talking about? This is my future. My parents' life isn't fair, bro," he said quietly. "Sophia's family can help me after graduation. Your parents run a noodle shop. Be realistic. You'll survive without it. She won't." My blood ran cold. He was serious. He had planned this. Professor Langford's voice cut through the chaos. "Mr. Chen, return to your seat or leave. Time is up." I stood there, frozen. I looked at Jordan, looked at Sophia, saw her small satisfied smirk. They had planned this. They had destroyed my future in 60 seconds. "No," I said, my voice rising. "He has my ID. He stole it. He planned this." "Mr. Chen," Langford said sternly. "Control yourself." "Search him," I demanded. "He has it. He stole it from my room." Jordan shook his head, feigning hurt. "That's a serious accusation, Alex. I've been your best friend for 4 years. Why would I do that?" Sophia's voice rang out from behind. "Maybe he's trying to distract us because he's not prepared." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. The entire exam hall was staring at me. Judgment in their eyes. Disbelief. Pity. Security guards approached me. They took me by the arms and escorted me out. I struggled, I screamed, I begged. "Please," I yelled. "I'm not lying. He has it. He has my ID." But no one listened. No one believed me. The doors slammed shut behind me, and I heard the sound of papers being distributed. My life had just shattered. I sat in a small room in the administration building, my hands shaking. The advisor had tried to be kind, but his words were empty. "Without your ID, there's nothing we can do." "Who cares about the ID?" I screamed. "He stole it. He planned this. They're trying to steal my scholarship." "Do you have proof?" the advisor asked calmly. "Proof?" I repeated hysterically. Why would I lie? I've never even had a warning before. I have a 3.95 GPA. I've never missed a class. Why would I lie? He gave me a look of pity. "Mr. Chen, the rules are clear. No ID, no exam. That's all there is to it." I was dismissed. I walked out into the bright sunlight, completely numb. My scholarship was gone. My future was gone. Everything I had worked for had been destroyed in 60 seconds. I called my parents. My mother cried. My father went silent. "Alex, what happened?" my mother asked, her voice breaking. "It was Jordan, Ma," I said, my voice hollow. "He stole my ID. He set me up." "Jordan," she repeated. "Your friend?" Yeah, I said. My best friend. But why? She asked. Why would he do this? For the scholarship, I said. For his girlfriend. They planned it together. There was a long pause. I could hear my mother crying. I could hear my father in the background, speaking in Chinese. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I knew it was bad. We will find a way, my mother finally said. Don't worry about us. We will manage. Ma, I can't, I said, my voice breaking. I can't put you through this. You've worked so hard. This was supposed to be my chance. Alex, she said firmly. You are our son. The money doesn't matter. You matter. We will be okay. You will be okay. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that everything would be okay. But I didn't. I couldn't. The 2 weeks that followed were the darkest of my life. I stopped going to classes. I stopped answering my phone. I lay in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying the betrayal over and over in my mind. I had trusted him. I had loved him like a brother. And he had destroyed me. I considered dropping out. The financial burden was impossible. I owed nearly $18,000 for the final semester if I wanted to graduate. My parents didn't have that kind of money. They had nothing. I checked social media once, a mistake I will never make again. Jordan had posted a photo with Sophia. The caption read, "We did it. Scholarship secured. The future is ours." I threw my phone against the wall and watched it shatter. That was the moment everything changed. The moment the anger replaced the grief. The moment I stopped being the victim and started being the warrior. I was done being the nice guy. I was done being used. I was going to fight back. The turning point came on the 15th day. I had been lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when I received a call from my mother. Alex, she said, her voice firm. I have not raised a quitter. You get up. You fight. You find a way. Something snapped in me. Something clicked into place. She was right. I wasn't a quitter. I had survived my parents' struggles. I had worked my way through school. I had overcome every obstacle that had been placed in my path. I wasn't going to let Jordan Reeves destroy me. I got up. I showered. I ate something. And then I started fighting. I started with the evidence. I knew that no one would believe me without proof, so I gathered everything I could find. I called my friend Daniel, who had been in Jordan's social circle. Daniel, it's Alex. I need to ask you something. Do you have any text messages from Jordan or Sophia about me? Bro, Daniel said, his voice sympathetic. What happened was messed up. I heard what they did. I've got some stuff. He forwarded me the text messages. Sophia's words were damning, just make sure Alex doesn't show up tomorrow. Whatever it takes. Jordan's response, I've got it under control. He trusts me completely. I felt sick reading them. He had been planning this for weeks. I had been completely blind. Next, I went to campus security. I need to see the footage from the dormitory hallway from 2 nights before the final exam, I said. The security officer was skeptical. That's a specific request. Why? I need proof that someone entered my room without my permission, I said. To steal something. Stole what? He asked. My ID. It's the only way I can prove I was set up. He looked at me for a long moment. I'm not supposed to do this, he finally said, but I've heard about your case. It didn't sit right with me either. He pulled up the footage. I watched the screen as my room appeared. At 2:13 a.m., Jordan appeared, looking around cautiously. Then he entered the room. 2 minutes later, he emerged, holding something small in his hand. An ID. There, I said, pointing. That's him. That's my ID. The security officer nodded. I'll make a copy of this. You'll need it. The Academic Integrity Board hearing was the most terrifying moment of my life. I sat at a table, dressed in my best suit, facing a panel of 5 faculty members. Jordan and Sophia sat at another table with their lawyer. They looked confident, arrogant. Mr. Chen, the chairperson said, you have accused Mr. Reeves of stealing your ID. The burden of proof is on you. I have proof, I said, my voice steady. I submitted the security footage, the text messages, and witness statements from students who had heard Sophia discussing the plan at parties. This footage shows Mr. Reeves entering my dorm room at 2:13 a.m., 2 nights before the exam, I said, projecting it onto the screen. The timestamps are clear. This is him removing my ID from my bag. I turned to the text messages. The text messages show Ms. Reyes explicitly telling Mr. Reeves to make sure Alex doesn't show up. That's premeditated sabotage. I saw Sophia's face go pale. Jordan's lawyer shifted uncomfortably. But I wasn't done. Furthermore, I continued, there is evidence of academic dishonesty. Mr. Reeves paid another student to write his final papers. Ms. Reyes cheated on multiple assignments. Jordan's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, these are serious accusations. My client denies them completely. I have evidence, I said calmly. I have receipts, witness statements, and screenshots. The panel conferred quietly. Dr. Langford nodded, his expression grim. Mr. Chen, he said, we will need to review this evidence. But in the meantime, I will give you a special oral examination. 3 hours in my office. The hardest questions I can ask. I accept, I said, my voice unwavering. Dr. Langford's office was a tomb of knowledge, lined with books and papers. He sat across from me, his eyes sharp and unforgiving. Are you ready, Mr. Chen? He asked. I've been ready for months, I said. 3 hours passed. He fired question after question, pushing me to my limits. But I had prepared. I knew the material inside out. I didn't miss a single detail. Finally, he leaned back in his chair. Mr. Chen, he said, I've been teaching for 35 years. In all that time, I've only given a perfect score 3 times. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. You just made it 4. Congratulations. You passed. I exhaled, relief washing over me. I had done it. I had saved my future. Thank you, sir, I said, my voice trembling. Thank you so much. Don't thank me, he said gruffly. You earned it. Now go take back what's yours. The Academic Integrity Board reconvened 2 weeks later. I sat in the back of the room, anonymous and invisible. Jordan and Sophia sat at the front, their confidence shattered. Based on the evidence presented, the chairperson announced, this board has concluded that Mr. Reeves and Ms. Reyes conspired to prevent Mr. Chen from taking his final exam. Additional evidence has surfaced regarding academic dishonesty. I watched Jordan's face crumble. He looked like a child who had been caught stealing. Mr. Reeves, the chairperson continued, you are suspended for 1 semester and your scholarship is revoked. Ms. Reyes, you are expelled from the university. Your grades will be invalidated. Sophia screamed. You can't do this. Your family has no bearing on this decision, the chairperson said coldly. The evidence is clear. You are both dismissed. As Jordan was escorted out, he saw me. His eyes were wild with desperation. Alex. Wait. Please, let me explain. I turned to face him. My heart was racing, but my face was stone. Explain what? I asked. How you plan to destroy my life for a girl? It was a mistake, he pleaded. I was stupid. I was scared. Please, we were brothers. No, I said, cutting him off. We were never brothers. Brothers don't do what you did. I walked away. I didn't look back. Graduation day was bittersweet. I walked across the stage with my parents watching, their faces glowing with pride. My mother cried, but this time it was from joy. I had made it. I had survived. After graduation, I started my own accounting firm. It was small at first, just a desk and a computer in a shared office space. But it grew. Slowly, steadily, it grew. I helped my parents retire from the noodle shop. I bought them a better apartment. I gave them the life they had always deserved. And I never forgot the lesson I had learned. True friendship isn't about convenience. It's about loyalty. It's about having someone's back when it matters most. Jordan had failed that test. He had chosen Sophia over me, and he had paid the price. I heard later that his father cut him off after the scandal damaged the family reputation. He now works as a low-level sales rep, struggling to make ends meet. Sophia left the state, unable to face the shame. I don't feel sorry for them. I feel justice. 1 year after graduation, Jordan showed up at my office. He looked terrible, unemployed, unkempt, the shine gone from his eyes. He was wearing a cheap suit that didn't fit him. Alex, he said awkwardly. It's been a while. What do you want, Jordan? I asked. I need a job, he said. Any job. My family cut me off. I can't even get an interview anywhere. Your reputation is good. If you could just give me a reference. I stared at him. The man who had destroyed my future. The man who had betrayed me in the most devastating way possible. I know I don't deserve it, he continued. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I'm desperate. Please. I stood up. I walked around my desk and looked him in the eyes. You said it yourself, Jordan, I said quietly. Life isn't fair. He opened his mouth to speak, but I held up my hand. You don't have one, I said. Take the fail. The look on his face was priceless. He had used those words to destroy me. Now they were his downfall. I walked back to my desk. Security will see you out. It's been 3 years since that day. My accounting firm is thriving. I have employees now, a beautiful office, and a reputation for integrity. My parents are happy. They no longer have to work in the noodle shop. They spend their days with their grandchildren, cooking, laughing, living the life they always dreamed of. And I have found peace. I have found forgiveness for myself, if not for Jordan. I have found the strength to move forward, to build something better, to prove that I am more than the sum of my struggles. I think about that day in the exam hall sometimes. The 60 seconds that changed everything. The moment my best friend revealed his true colors. But I don't think about it with pain anymore. I think about it with gratitude. Because if it hadn't happened, I might never have discovered who I really was. I might never have found the strength to fight back. I might never have built the life I have now. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you for showing me who you really were. Thank you for teaching me that true friendship is about loyalty, not convenience. And thank you for reminding me that I am stronger than I ever knew. Some betrayals you forgive. Others you use as fuel. I chose the latter. And I've never looked back. That's my story. It's not a story of revenge, not really. It's a story of resilience. Of finding strength in the darkest moments. Of refusing to let someone else define your future. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, I know how you feel. I know the pain, the anger, the helplessness. But I also know that you can rise above it. You can find the strength to fight back, to build something better, to become the person you were always meant to be. True friendship is about loyalty. It's about having someone's back when it matters most. It's about being there in the good times and the bad. I thought Jordan was that person. I was wrong. But I learned from it. I grew from it. And I became the person I was always meant to be. So if you're going through something similar, remember, you are stronger than you know. You can survive this. You can thrive. And one day, you'll look back on this moment and realize that it made you who you are. Don't let anyone dim your light. Keep fighting. Keep believing. Keep rising. Because the best revenge is a life well lived. And I'm living mine. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, never let anyone dim your light. See you in the next one.